This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe. By Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers, where you can report crimes and get paid with nobody knowing your identity. Call 1-800-780-TIPS. By Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated. No matter what the weather condition is outside, have it your way inside. And by Lee Health.
Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. And you might be saying, where in the world is Lee Pitts Live? Well, we're at George's. Design is she makes all types of clothes, just the short version of it. Design them for you, alterate your clothes, all men, women, boys, girls, proms, weddings, social events, tuxedos. She made my tuxedo for my upcoming all white affair on July this 10th. You can get her to make your outfit for there because people are going to be dressed to impress. That's Lee Pitts Live after work at Club Celsius. And so we're so thrilled to be at her on location at her operation, which is located in the Sam's Plaza here in Fort Myers, right across from Best Buy. That plaza across the street, George's Design. So for all your clothing needs and alterations and custom made things, just come to George's. We have a fabulous show in store for you. Get a chance to talk to Coach Ray. You've been seeing his commercial on Lee Pitts Live. Well, he's actually here. He's a candidate for the Lee County Sheriff's, and we're looking forward to talking to him in the second part of our show. We got a surprise guest. All that's happening on Lee Pitts Live. We'll be right back.
PAL is here. The Fort Myers Police Athletic League, or PAL, as it is popularly called, is an important part of Chief Diggs' community engagement initiative to bring sports programs to young children and teenagers that promote strong character, positive life skills. Sports include football, basketball, and boxing programs. There's also cheerleading. For more information, contact Senior Program Coordinator Keith White at 239-896-7191 or email him at dwight@fmpolice.com.
Servicing Southwest Florida for over 30 years, Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated is your leading family-owned and operated air conditioning company. There's no job too big or too small. Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated is here for you. We have maintenance contracts and financing. For additional information, visit our website, follow us on social media, or call the office at 239-693-1569.
Remember, no matter what the weather is on the outside, have it your way on the inside.
Solomon's Air Conditioning Incorporated.
Service you can count on.
Southwest Florida, thanks for staying with us here on Lee Pitts Live. You're going to be thoroughly impressed that you did stay with us because you want to be informed. If you want to be informed and taken seriously, well, you need to be on Lee Pitts Live and you need to be watching Lee Pitts Live. Today we got a candidate here who's running for Lee County Sheriff. We're so happy to get him on the show. Goes by the simple, recognizable name of Coach Ray. Coach Ray, welcome to Lee Pitts Live.
Thank you, sir.
I must say at the outset, Coach Ray, that even looking at you, you look like a sheriff. Has anybody told you that yet?
Yes, sir, numerous times.
What does that mean when you hear that?
Makes me feel good and makes me know that I'm ready for the job.
And you are uniquely ready for the job. One of the things about you is that you grew up in a family that was all about service, law enforcement, military. Give us a little background on Coach Ray.
Okay. Well, I was born into a home that had military. My dad was in the Army when I was born. And when he retired from the military, he went into law enforcement, and he also retired from law enforcement. So I do have that background. And I'm also prior military. I was Navy, military police in the Navy. And I retired 21 years law enforcement.
21 years. When you were in law enforcement for those 21 years, what are some things that you are proud that you were able to accomplish?
Well, I worked in numerous different divisions. I worked civil division, road patrol, court security, investigations. I was homicide investigator. I was a trained hostage negotiator. So I'm proud of all the training and the different divisions that I worked in. So that's what I believe I can take all that knowledge and apply that to the sheriff's office.
Now, that was in Hendry County?
Yes, sir.
Similarities between Hendry County and Lee County?
Yes, sir. Lee County also has the same divisions: court security, civil division, which is has to do with paper processing, warrants, and so on. I believe all the knowledge that I learned and the training that I received in Hendry County, I can apply that to Lee County.
Mm-hmm. The whole idea of saying, I want to be a sheriff. I want to be a sheriff of one of the largest counties in the state of Florida, to take on that vast responsibility and to be able to mobilize staff to go out there and achieve this safety goal. How did you come to that point that you wanted to change, want to be a sheriff?
Well, it's something I wanted to do for probably the last 20 years. It's just a goal. And I'm a life coach now. Since I retired from law enforcement, I have my own business as a life coach. And I believe everybody should have a goal. They should set a high goal in life. And I've set this as a high goal, and I will achieve it. And as a life coach, I help people achieve their goals.
Well, let's take a look at you on a commercial that people are seeing running on Lee Pitts Live. And we'll come back and talk about that, and we'll talk a little bit more about you as a life coach. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Michael Ray Qualls Jr. Everybody calls me Coach Ray, and I want to be your Lee County Sheriff. I have been a Southwest Florida resident for 26 years. As a 14-year veteran and a 21-year law enforcement officer, I have a unique and valuable perspective on the importance of a safe community. I am running because our wonderful community deserves to be safe with leadership and experience that we can trust. Law enforcement is in my blood. My dad, who served honorably in the military, is a retired law enforcement officer. He instilled in me service before self. I have experience in homicide investigations, road patrol, crisis intervention, and I'm a trained hostage negotiator. I am running as an independent. On November 3rd, I ask for your valuable vote so I can get to work for you, making our Sheriff's Department a model for this country. To learn more about my campaign and to make a donation, visit CoachRayForLeeSheriff.com. I am Coach Ray, and I approve this message.
Now, when we see you in that commercial there that people have been seeing on television, it looks like, just from listening to you on that commercial, it sounds like you have a lot of passion about being a person of service. Tell us where that came from.
I believe it came from the way I was raised. Like I said, I was born in a house that had military service. Everything had to be perfect. It had its own place, pay attention to detail, and know the right from wrong. And also, when I went into the military myself, everything had to be in its own place. It had its own system. It had a way to work. And I believe all of that I accumulated over the years would be beneficial to being sheriff.
You did a lot of years in law enforcement. You got out of law enforcement as a life coach. Now you want to go back into law enforcement. I'm sure my viewers are saying, why did he ever get out of law enforcement? Go.
Well, as a life coach, I have to tell people sometimes you have to take a chance. You have to, even though it was comfortable where I was at, I knew what I was doing was working. I knew I had job security working at the sheriff's office, but I knew I wanted more. And I believe that the knowledge over the years that I obtained, I could apply that to helping other people. And I use that information and that knowledge as a life coach to help other people become better.
Mm-hmm. What's wrong right now when you look at the Lee County Sheriff's Office? What are some two high things that day one you would start working on changing?
That's a good question. And the first thing I want to do is have all of the deputies and corrections officers get certified as life coaches. Imagine that. As a life coach, I help people become better. I lift people up, change that negative thinking to positive thinking. Now imagine all of the deputies and corrections officers out there in the community. doing that, helping people become better. And I believe that will be the gap, bridge that gap between law enforcement and the community.
For example?
Well, when I was a teenager, I got in some trouble, and I had contact with law enforcement. And the law enforcement officer, he asked me, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, well, I want to become a cop. And he kind of laughed, and he said, well, not by doing the mischief things that you're doing. And he said, well, if you're serious about being in law enforcement, you got to set it in your mind, figure out how to get there, copy people that's doing it, and just continue forward, and you will achieve your goal. Well, I took that information as personal, and I believe that if there's other deputies and corrections officers, let's say a whole army, there's approximately 1,600 employees at the sheriff's office, and if they're all doing the same thing, imagine the effect that all of them can do versus the one officer that did for me.
How do you improve on the quality of service that's being delivered by our sheriff's office?
Well, I believe that goes back to the life coaching. If the deputies out on the road are trained and certified to look at the positive in people instead of just the negative, I believe that will have a huge impact upon the community. If a deputy comes across somebody and says, I know you're having a hard time, I know this is difficult for you, but you can move forward, you can achieve your goals, you can get through this difficult situation, and I believe that will have a huge impact on the community.
Mm-hmm. The taxpayers' dollars, we heard it in your commercial, we've seen you on the campaign stump saying that you will save taxpayers' dollars. Are you saying taxpayers' dollars are being squandered now, and how would you improve that?
I'm not necessarily saying that they're being squandered. What I'm saying is there's about $90 a day per inmate to take care of them in the jail. And there's about 1,760 inmates in the jail. That comes out to nearly $55 million a year. Now, what I want to do is implement a life coaching program in the jail for the inmates. Now, imagine that. Right now, the way the jail is focused is mostly on punishment. And we can agree that punishment alone does not deter people and does not help them become better. Because when you have the same inmates in and out of the jail over and over. Recidivism. Now, if we implement something to help people become better, to change their negative thinking to positive, and help them achieve and set goals, I believe that would have a huge impact on the recidivism rate. And when we can cut down the recidivism rate, it will save on how much money we're being spent in the jail.
Now, as a layman, I'm assuming based on movies and things that I've seen, don't they have things going on in jail now to, they use the word rehabilitate the prisoners so when they get out they can matriculate into society? Or by you being in law enforcement, do you think what they do right now has very little effect?
I believe it has an effect, just not to the level that I believe that the life coaching program implemented into the programs that's already there. I believe the programs that's there has an effect. It's just not as effective as it could be.
So that will be a double cost savings. You'll bring somebody back out into society who'll be ready to cope with society with a positive attitude. Also, at the same time, you keep having less people coming back into the system after they've gotten out of the system. What makes you feel so good that that will work?
It worked for me when I was a teenager. Like I explained, when I was approximately 13, I got in trouble, and that little bit of advice from that one officer changed my life. And I've talked to other life coaches in the area and explained to them what I want to do, and every one of them is on board, and they believe that a minimum of 10% to up to 30% of the inmates in the jail will be affected in a positive manner, which means if it's up to 30%, that's a huge chunk of the population that we don't have to take care of anymore.
Let's go to lowering crime rate. How would you lower the crime rate? It seems like what you just said is a part of that process, but is there anything else that you have additionally to add?
Yes, everything that I want to do kind of works together. And to answer that specific question, I want to have something I call a crime prevention committee. And what this entails is a group of people that has firsthand knowledge on the criminal mind. And think about this. Who would have the best knowledge on the criminal mind? Ex-criminals. The FBI already does this in certain cases. They'll hire ex-criminals to help them solve their cases. Now, we can take that same type of knowledge and have ex-criminals on a committee that says the reason why this person was victimized or the reason why that one wasn't is because of this. So we can take that knowledge and put that in some type of resource. We can have judges, attorneys, probation officers, anyone that has interviewed either victims or suspects of crimes, and we can compile that into some type of resource to train kids to be safer, to give that to the parents, to teach them how to be safer, business owners, and so on. And I believe that the life coaching and the crime prevention committee together will lower the crime rate overall.
Mm-hmm. You're very passionate about teens, suicide, bullying, all these types of things that take place in society. First of all, why are you so passionate about that? And what would you do to reduce these things happening?
Okay. I want to have a mentor program for kids. And I want these mentors to be specifically trained in certain areas. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm not going to say most, I'm going to say every human being is driven by emotion. You're either in search of an emotion or you're reacting to an emotion. That's what drives everyone, is their emotions. So specifically for these three categories, teen suicide, school shootings, and bullying, it comes down to one thing, and that's they perceive they have no control over their life. So what do we do? For instance, let's say a person that wants to commit suicide, a teenager wants to commit suicide. They believe within their life they have no control over their circumstances. So what do they have control over? Whether or not they live or die. So they're searching for something that they don't have. Same thing for a bully. Let's say in their personal life, maybe they have a sibling that's older that picks on them, or maybe their parents are really strict and they have no control over their personal life. So they're in search of that control, so they exhibit control over another kid by bullying them. Same thing with school shooting. They believe they have no control over their personal life, so what do? They decide they control other people's lives by taking it. So what's the answer? Well, you find something that these kids are interested in. Maybe they're interested in sports, art, music. Give them something they can focus that attention on that they can have control over.
I want you to take a look into that camera right there. Take 30 seconds to make an appeal for your candidacy as the new sheriff for Lee County.
I'm Coach Ray, and I am running for Lee County Sheriff, and I believe I would be the best choice because I'm not a politician. And let me explain that. I'm running as a non-party affiliate, which means I believe that a sheriff, if he's truly fair and impartial, it shouldn't matter what party he's affiliated with, because I want to be the sheriff for everyone, not just Democrats, not just Republicans, but for everyone.
Hi, my name is Dr. Cindy Banyai, candidate for Florida Congressional District 19.
I'm a mom, small business owner, and I'm fighting for our water, our health, and our community. I'm running to be the servant leader the people of Southwest Florida deserve. We need leaders who will listen to and work for the people, not the powerful.
Send Mama to Congress to fight for you. Check your voter registration and vote for me, Cindy Banyai, in the upcoming Democratic primary. I am Cindy Banyai, and I approve this message.
Are you a single mother who wants a better life for your children? Would you like the means to get an education and get a job so that you and your children can live comfortably? The New Beginnings may be able to help you. The New Beginnings of Southwest Florida is a nonprofit organization that comes alongside single mothers by offering no-cost housing and child care support while you get a degree at a local college or technical school. Too good to be true, you say? We provide necessities, but you do the work to get the degree. Call 239-541-4312 to get an application, or go to our website at thenewbeginnings.org.
Christopher.
I got that feeling again, baby.
Yes, and I've got it too.
You think we can see each other?
You know, I really need to see you.
Well, come on. Let's make it happen.
I can't wait any longer. When I'm away from you, boy, all I see you, boy, my, how the time does fly. I don't know if you need and love me the way I love and need you. I hope that we can be together soon. I hope that we can be together soon. I hope that we can be together soon. Can you make it real soon? Can you make it real soon?
When I think about you, girl, chills run up and down my spine. And if my wish could come true, oh baby, I'd be with you all the time, yeah, yeah.
Wrong or right, day or night, I sure do miss you.
All my lonely heart can do, yeah.
Hope that we can be together soon.
I hope we make it real soon, yeah.
I hope that we can be together soon.
Maybe tomorrow.
I hope that we can be together soon.
I can't wait no longer.
Can you make it real soon?
Can we make it real soon?
Can you make it real soon?
Come on, baby. Come on, honey.
I hope that we
Maybe tomorrow.
together soon. Yeah. I hope that we
Maybe tomorrow.
can be together soon.
I can't wait. No,
I hope that we
I can't see
can be
you.
together soon.
I need to see you.
I hope that we
I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you.
Christopher,
Mickey, you sweet thing.
we're finally together.
So what you gonna do?
I wanna hold you.
Come on and hold me.
I wanna squeeze you.
Squeeze me.
I wanna love you.
Come on and love me.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.